Welcome back to Drafting Out Loud. Today we're going to be looking at the DraftKings market movers. On this episode, we're going to look at some risers and try to predict where they're going to go, if their values, if we should be taking them still or not. We're going to look at some of the notable fallers, see if they're justified, if there's any that we wanted to start taking some stabs at. Then we'll look at the values and see if there's any exciting values out there. Hint, there are. As always, this is brought to you by the Leverage Lab. Let's get into it. First off, our risers. Jahmyr Gibbs has flipped Bijan Robinson pretty significantly over the past week or so. Look at that. Bijan Robinson has fallen down half a round over the past 7 days, while Jahmyr Gibbs has risen by half a round. You can see now it's 1.2 versus 2. In the past, they're both like 1 point something. So Jahmyr Gibbs sounds like he's getting taken at the beginning of the first round almost every single time now. Okay, let's look at the rest of the risers, see if there's any notable ones. First off, AJ Brown, he's going at 19.6. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this up on DraftKings here and take a look at this too. At 19.6, let's go to the top of the board. At 19.6, he is going right after Brock Bowers, Chase Brown, Hampton, Achane, London. I do think there's still room for him to rise. Uh, if we go look at this again, he's risen half a round in the past 2 days and almost 7 picks in the past 7 days. And I could see that continue. I think there's probably going to be half the people that think London's better, half the people that think AJ Brown is better. And so you can see Brown continue to rise a little bit. Funny thing is London is currently rising too. So it's going to be a competition of kind of like where does Brown go compared to Bowers, compared to Brown, Hampton, Achane, and London. And I could even see Walker falling down. I think some of that excitement has kind of cooled off a little bit. And he's kind of fall a little further away from that 1-2 turn here at pick 15.4. So can you expect him to rise? I think you can. Do you need to pull him up too much? No, but I'd be taking him probably like we see here, at least ahead of Henry as the ADPs show. And I'd be kind of considering him and Bowers probably is what I'd be doing. And then maybe just let the market kind of figure out from there, if you ask me. Now, if you want to take Bowers ahead of him, I don't think that's bad either, though. Lad McConkey, tons of buzz on Lad McConkey, up 1.6 picks in the last 2 days and 3 in the last 7 days. And he's going to pick number 34 now. And I kind of expect this to continue to rise. I could see him rising ahead of Igbuka, ahead of Rashee Rice. And so if you're getting towards the end of the third, if you like McConkey and you're getting towards the end of the third round, I think it makes sense to maybe take McConkey and see if you can push someone else around. I feel like Etienne's falling more, Igbuka is falling slightly more, even Rashee Rice maybe. These players are moving more than McConkey. And one thing I maybe regret right now is I was actually taking Higgins ahead of McConkey, and obviously the market has flipped that completely. Same thing with Flowers. Flowers has actually flipped him as well. So things have changed dramatically here on Underdog. I mean, sorry, on DraftKings. I'd expect it to probably happen on Underdog as well, actually. So if you're drafting Underdog, I'd probably consider taking McConkey ahead of some of these players and see if you can get the other ones on the way back around. I have to look at those ADPs a little bit more to kind of confirm that though. But I do think McConkey is good here. I do expect him to continue to rise. I'd be taking McConkey ahead of ETN probably, unless ETN's someone that you really like. One of the nice things about McConkey is that if you listen to the people that are sharper than me, he is expected to just have that number one role on Los Angeles Chargers. They expect to play a lot of two tight end personnel, and there's a lot of benefits of him being on the field trying to catch passes against tight ends. And so expect him to kind of keep on rising up the board here, basically. Next up, we have AD Mitchell here at 198. And if we scroll all the way down to the wide receivers here, just look at wide receivers now when we get this late into the draft. You can see here's AD Mitchell. The buzz on Ted Hurst has started to fade a little bit. I could see AD Mitchell continuing to rise. There are some people are making some points that AD Mitchell probably is the wide receiver that just stays on the field the most, maybe compared to the other ones. And while he might have that sacrificial deep role, he's proven he can kind of get open in any route, kind of. Like he's a great route runner, very explosive. So he could get more catches out of that role than other players potentially. And depending on what's going on, I could see him definitely rise up these boards. You could see him definitely going ahead of Hurst, Cup, Ridley. I don't know what's going on. What do they have to say about Ridley here? Tank Dell's gotten a little bit of positive buzz. He like was walking or jogging or something like that. But I could see him going ahead of Tank Dell as well, depending on what that news is for Tank Dell. And then you start getting into this Harris, Bernard, Samuel range and Tyreek Hill. And I'm not sure how I feel about, I mean, Tyreek Hill. I don't think I've definitely limited how much I've taken him. And then even like Debo Samuel, he still hasn't signed. I think he's a good pick, but I'd probably take him over AD Mitchell. But if things don't change, there might be a time where they kind of get closer. Go to the news here on Calvin Ridley really quick, see if there's anything going on with him, if it lets me. Okay, it's struggling. There we go. He practiced. Okay, nothing. Yeah, so nothing really new there. Ridley's an interesting pick, right? He did it, but it's been a while since he did it. He's on a team where you don't know if he can do it or not at 192, and all the risk is gone there too. But it's I could see why you'd want AD Mitchell over those players potentially. Um, so I could see him continue to rise. I could see someone like Tank Dell after he stops rising to start falling again. Ted Hurst, fall after the rise again, that kind of stuff. And then someone like Debo, Jerry Jeudy, Tyreek Hill, depending what goes down, I could see those players starting to fall also. Trey Harris is on the risers. I want to say if we go, is he? Yeah, on the risers. That one doesn't make sense to me personally. Like if Lad McConkey's on the risers because he's expected to be in the lineup in that 12 personnel, then what is Trey Harris doing? He's on the bench. So how is he rising as well? I don't know. Don't know about that one. That one I'm a little I don't feel the need to click that one at all. He's risen up 2 picks in the last 2 days, 10 picks in the past week, 11 picks in the past month. So it's been some buzz right now that maybe I'm missing. Uh, Alvin Kamara at 163 just seems crazy. I don't think I'm doing that click at all. Kenneth Walker actually is rising a little bit. So um, not falling right now. Maybe just a whatever kind of little move that is right there. Greg Dulcich is getting a lot of buzz from the people that run a lot of the sims and things like that. And he's starting to rise up the boards. I haven't taken nearly as much of it as I should have. If I'm playing the ADP game, I don't really expect him to rise. Not really concerned about it too much. Christian Watson at pick 54. I like Christian Watson. He passed up Rome Odunze, and that's the one we were talking about, was the next one that he'd probably do, which he did. And then after that, now it's Mike Evans, Jamison Williams, Jalen Waddle. I could see Watson passing Mike Evans and Jamison Williams. I like Mike Evans as well, but I mean, Watson's the number one on the team. He's a deep threat. Williams is the number 2 or 3 on the team. He's also a deep threat. Why is the Detroit Lions have maybe a better running attack than Green Bay, depending on what goes down? So why is Williams going ahead of Watson? Maybe is the question. Maybe it's a injury concern with Watson, but Watson just signed a new contract. You'd expect that means that Green Bay is a little more confident with his health. So I could see Watson continue to rise up a little bit, maybe even passing Evans and Williams as the season goes along. It's going to be harder for him to pass up someone like Waddle or McLaurin, I think. Devonta Smith is now all the way up to pick number 28. And I think it all depends on what the buzz is with Pickens and Olave. I think I like Smith more than Olave with the addition of Tyson to the New Orleans. Will Olave still get all the shorter routes that he kind of got last year? Or is he going to be back into a deep role? If he is back into a deep role, then I think his ADP starts to go, is not justified there basically. And then Pickens, is he going to be a head case or not? So Smith has a little bit of room to rise, but I do think this makes sense where he's at for the most part, just based on the other wide receivers. we go to all, I mean, you could justify having like Williams or Brees Hall, even like an ETN ahead of them. I think they're just maybe safer picks. But if you want the more explosive pick, I think that's Devonta Smith, right? The new number one on the team. Ryan Flournoy, pick 173. I think this is one that I think there's a lot of room to run. Um, Here he is right here. And I could see him getting up into the 150s, I think, if he continues to get just positive excitement about what could be type of thing. He could pass Malik Washington where there's no buzz at all. He could pick past Tesla and Boston because just question marks about like, what kind of volume they're going to get. He could pass Trey Tucker and Naylor just because people might be more excited about Flournoy, or maybe Las Vegas signs Diggs or someone like that, and that changes things as well. Um, and then I think once you get to like the Hunter, I think that's going to be tougher. Jennings, that might just be tougher because people are excited about Kyler Murray. But I could see him get into the 150s. So I think Flournoy um, is someone that I should be drafting more around this range. I think he should be a target probably. And that kind of stinks because he was a lot cheaper earlier and I took him. You just don't expect these players to move. And then when they start moving, you're like, darn, I wish I would have drafted more of them before they did move. Rashad White's another player that's getting a lot of buzz by the community at pick 123. Uh, he is ahead of JCM on at least one of the sites. So he's right behind JCM on DraftKings. So I do think this is a buying opportunity for him on DraftKings because he is the more expensive player on Underdog. He's rising up more on Underdog, and DraftKings is the PPR website. So if there's one of these two sites where he should be going ahead, it's definitely DraftKings. So at the very least, I'd be flipping these two in your drafts starting now. And if you took him ahead of someone like Aaron Jones, I wouldn't blame you. I think it's tougher to take him much higher than that. It's more like maybe bypass some of these guys if you don't like them, take someone else, and then hopefully White's there in the next pick or something like that. But I'm definitely flipping White and JCM. I think that's an easy call right there. Anyone else? The other two that are getting some buzz here are Tucker, Mitchell, and Montgomery. So we'll look at those guys really quick here as well. Tucker is more expensive even on Underdog. Makes sense because Tucker is not a pass catcher. Uh, I think on DraftKings, this probably makes sense where he's at. You could argue him slightly higher or just, I don't think he goes lower really, than this. The nice thing about Tucker is you kind of know he has a role for the most part. You hope he has like a goal line role, or you hope that he's a goal line role. He has more of like an established weekly role, while some people think that Tank Bigsby has more of just a role if Saquon goes down. So do you want the projectable volume of maybe touchdown spike weeks versus the higher upside of injury type of thing is what you want there on DraftKings. So I don't know if I'd be right. I don't think I'll be following, I guess, Tucker a little bit, but I don't think I'd be, targeting him and trying to draft him more. Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell's not really a pass catcher either. He is right here at 143. He's ETR had him ranked much higher. So there's a chance that he goes higher. I do like him over at least Isaiah Pacheco, which is, so you could see him rising a little bit. I'm indifferent between Woody Marks and Keaton Mitchell. I think Woody Marks has more of a guaranteed role. Keaton Mitchell is more of a we hope that he has a role type of thing. So it depends what you want right there. But I think it makes sense where he's going. I don't know how he'd rise up that much more. Let's go look at all the positions really quick with him. Daniel Jones, McMillan, Gadsden. Yeah, so it's going to be hard for him to rise up a whole lot more with the players that are around there. QBs have to get pushed down more. There's only so much I think they're going to get pushed down. Okay. Last one. David Montgomery, pick 51. Not, I, it's been hard for me to click him all season long. I don't think I got a whole lot of him. Don't think I have a whole lot of David Montgomery. He was going later on underdog, and I didn't get as much of him there even. I was trying to have him fall, but taking David Montgomery ahead of Lamar Jackson, Mike Evans, Christian Watson, like that's tough if you ask me to do that. So I don't have a whole lot of David Montgomery. I guess he fits a build. Again, a lot of the sim players like him because I think he's got that projectable volume. And when I hear projectable volume, I kind of hear dead zone as well. So I don't know how I feel about David Montgomery there. Take him when he falls. I haven't taken a whole ton. As far as fallers go, uh, Devon Achane now at pick 16 and a half. I think he's finally at a point where you start to feel better about taking him. We go here. Yeah, so he's now in the line with these other running backs. I think this makes more sense right here. Like I think I've seen him fall a couple times, and I'm just one pick away from getting him. I'm ready to kind of click it now if he falls to me, as opposed to always have to get him here at the 1-2 turn, which I definitely was not doing. Malik Neighbors, the fall is real. 14 picks, 15 picks almost in the last 30 days. I'd expect him to keep on falling. Haven't heard any good news. I have heard bad news. Bucky Irving seems to continue to fall here, but at pick 60, I think this fall is kind of done at this point in time. Look at this. If we go and look at the running backs here, pick 60, he could fall past Price and Tootin, but I think it stops there, right? So then it's just a question of how many other players do we want to take ahead of him. So I do think he could still fall some. It's really a question of do you like that running back or do you like the quarterback slash wide receivers is what it becomes. And I think then it becomes a preference thing versus a entire market thing at that point in time. So I do expect him to fall a couple more picks into the early 60s, I think, past Tootin, just because the buzz is so negative. But I don't think I expect too much more than that. So I would be passing on Irving if these other players are available and see if I can get Irving on the wrap, which I think will start to happen. If it doesn't happen in your draft, I think it will start to happen. Chris Rodriguez is falling because of the news about the injury to his foot. That could be a nothing or it could be a something. If we go to look at the running backs first here. Yeah, I don't have any problem with someone taking like Jordan Mason ahead of Chris Rodriguez. I don't have any problem with someone taking Tyrone Tracy ahead of Chris Rodriguez. So I do think he's still going to continue to fall a little bit. If there is more negative news, I could see him continue to fall, of course. But I think you're going to see slightly more fall, a slight additional fall into like the 135s or something like that is what I'd expect with Chris Rodriguez. He's not a pass catcher either, so he should fall more. Josh Allen falling as he probably should. Zach Charbonnet falling as he probably should. I actually clicked him uh, in an underdog on accident way earlier than this. Just a phone app star method gone wrong. Their phone app needs to get a little bit of improvement, I think. And then some values. I think there's a lot of values here. Trevion Henderson, definitely a value here as a pass catcher. Mike Evans, like we said, maybe you could argue Christian Watson over him, but still a value relative to underdog, especially. Uh, Travis Etienne, like we said, we probably maybe want Lad McConkey over Travis Etienne, but still, look at that. A value for another pass catching running back. So I think these are players that you want. Jacobs has fallen. I don't think he's going to fall anymore at 44. He's not on the fallers list anymore. And the next player he's got to pass up is Scatabo and then Montgomery. I mean, fall past, I guess, as far as that goes. You could see him potentially falling, but I think it's going to take, especially for Montgomery, it's going to take some negative news here. And if Scatabo gets one more little positive news thing, he definitely passes up um, Josh Jacobs as well. He's participating. This is actually from today. There we go. Individual work Monday. He's participating in team drills. Okay. I think that might be enough for Josh Jacobs to fall just slightly more because Cam Scatabo rises more. Okay, there you go. Uh, Brees Hall, the value isn't a whole lot in 3.6 picks. Percentage wise, it's a lot. It does give you the option of sometimes more Brees Hall falling, maybe into the fourth round. It probably doesn't happen as much now, but it was happening before. I can tell you that much. So he's more like middle of the third, end of the third round right there for him. Uh, Third round, Love, I think it sounds pretty darn nice. Receiving back. Anyone else? Makai Lemon is a huge value. That one's a little bit, I don't know what to do with that one. I know a lot of people are really high on him that are dealing with, again, the Sims and things like that. This is the one, this is the next good one, I think, is Travis Hunter. A round and a quarter or so better value on DraftKings. Thank you very much if I can get someone like that. I think this is pricing in that he's not going to get any receiving work and or very little receiving work relative to the cornerback work. And there's a lot that can happen before the season that could make this price worth it. In fact, even if he is more of a cornerback, all he needs is like 1 or 2 good weeks, right? And then it makes sense. Like he has 2 weeks where he gets 2 touchdowns or something like that. Thank you. He's great. And last but not least, I think these two players here are nice picks as well, Worthy and Mooney. Worthy is at a price where you can get like Patrick Mahomes and then someone like Jonathan Brooks and then Xavier Worthy in the next round. Thank you very much. If you can do something like that. And then Darnell Mooney's free. He's kind of like at the end of the 18th round. And I was clicking him at the very end of drafts before he signed with the Giants. When he signed with the Giants, he shot up, and now he's fallen back down to here. And with what's going on with Malik Neighbors and all the other players they drafted, I think some people are taking that as a bad thing for Mooney. I don't know if you should take that as a bad thing for Mooney or take that as a bad thing for Neighbors. And Mooney did it for the Falcons. Then he was injured. He did it 1 year for the Bears as well. I think there's some talent there. And all he needs is to be healthy, I think, to realize some of that talent. So a flyer in the last round or, one of the last rounds, I think that's a good flyer there. Okay, so when we get into a DraftKings draft today, what are we looking at? We're going to be looking at still getting A.J. Brown towards the end. We're going to be trying to get Lad McConkey towards the end of the third round. If we can, if we're in that position for that, we are going to, I think targets are definitely like Ryan Flournoy. We're going to be pulling up Rashad White ahead of JCM. Let's see here. And what else? As far as the fallers go, we'll consider Devon Achane finally. And we like some wide receivers late too. Darnell Mooney, we like late. Travis Hunter, we like late as well. Makai Lemon's a huge value late also. So I do think still on DraftKings, trying to get some of these, if we can get value on running backs late or early, that's good, or even mid. I do like the idea of maybe, and this is what some of the people smarter than me are doing too. I do maybe like the idea of testing out very shallow, robust running back rooms, like 4 running backs or something like that, or maybe 5 at most, and then just tack on tons of wide receivers and see where it goes from there. Okay, let's get into a DraftKings room. See ya. Peace.